Once the excitement of being offered an interview for a position dies down, the incredibly important task of preparing for the interview begins. This is a big topic, and we can only scratch the surface here. So the goal of this video and subsequent activity is to set a framework for how to prepare for interviews. There also are a lot of resources on the web and in books, so we'll point out a few of those you might like to look at. It can be very helpful to talk with friends or colleagues who have recently done interviews to find out what it was like as well. Interviews come in many sizes and shapes, but preparing for them is actually quite similar to start with. Even if the interview is an initial short phone or video interview, to gauge fit and narrow down the field of primary candidates, you want to do your homework just the same. Short initial interviews are quite common for all types of positions. There's only so much that can be understood from written documents, so initial interviews are used to identify the strongest applicants. Preparing for interviews begin by going back to the advertisement and seeing if you have any questions that might benefit from clarification. If you have questions, it certainly does not hurt to request more information or clarification from whomever invited you to interview, as long as you don't ask for excessive detail. You can get more details during the interview. After that, dig down to find out as much as you can about the hiring organization and particularly the role you'll be playing within it. Use all the resources you can find, such as the web, people you might know who now or used to work there, ads for other positions in the organization, etc. Read what is on public-facing sources like the web very carefully, assuming that a lot of time and effort went into them. Look for how they present their values, ways of working, missions, etc. It's hard to know how much these words are real and lived, but it's best to assume that they are real at the start. That being said, don't overdo it and try too hard to present yourself in initial interviews as fitting what you read. Just be aware of what's portrayed, and then listen for ways in which what you have gleaned is evident or confirmed in interviews. Next, take stock of and reflect back to the work you did to determine how your strengths fit with a position, and any ways a person reading your documents might be wondering if they do. A lot of preparing for interviews is thinking about what others might be wondering about from your application materials and your public visibility on websites or social media. Oh yes, assume anyone you speak to has also done their homework and found out about you ahead of time. But don't get paranoid. It's just part of the way life works. The exercise after this video will help you practice the core task of preparing for an interview, which is thinking about the different types of people you might encounter during an interview and what they're trying to find out about you. This is especially critical for short preliminary interviews. Remember, this interview determines if you stay on the list to be considered further. It's hard to give a detailed list of how to prepare, given the vast array of position types, but basically early interviews are trying to figure out, first, do you match what they read on paper? Is there evidence of all those glorious things you said about yourself in the cover letter? Second, can you provide evidence of your ability to meet the responsibilities and roles within the position? Third, does it seem like you would fit in within the local work setting and likely larger organizational structure? There may be some specifics they are listening for in conversation, but often is a general gestalt or gut feeling. Keep in mind that fit often means complementing what is already present in the organization, not necessarily duplicating it. Finally, if there are ways in which you are not a perfect fit for what they're looking for, how easily will you acquire whatever is missing while in the position? There are many other specifics they may be looking for by position type, but these are probably good architecture to start from. You also want to spend time and effort to determine what you want to know about the position and organization. Even if it seems like your dream job, you must be prepared to ask meaningful questions, or it can come across as disinterested, overconfident, or a lackluster attitude. Of course, the number of things you can ask about will be based on time available. For a short interview, focus on a few important questions, but be prepared for many questions for a longer interview, especially a multi-day marathon. Be cautious in first interviews about asking for things that could give the wrong impression, such as number of vacation days or relocation allowances. Save those for later if things progress. Preparing for multi-day later visits, which are common with academic positions, is a whole different ballgame. You will likely have to give several different talks on different topics and for different audiences. Do not underestimate the importance of tailoring presentations to the audience and, once again, what the selection committee is trying to find out from them. Presentations are often make or break. But then again, individual small group meetings are too. Basically, plan to be on every minute of the day during an interview. Be sure to request a schedule for any visit or extended virtual interview well in advance, even if it is a working draft subject to change. The schedule will be a roadmap for figuring out what each individual or group is and what they're likely to be trying to figure out. Remember earlier modules on communication when we talked about elevator pitches or other ways in which you have heard about elevator pitches? It's wise to prepare for several of them across several domains of who you are, such as what you have accomplished, your skills and assets, and what you see for the future in your professional life. It's good to have these handy, but be careful not to sound too practiced or rigid during an interview. And by all means, expect questions and discussion to go in direction you had not prepared for. You'll need to be fluid, flexible, and insightful. And be sure to prepare to listen. There's nothing worse than interviewing someone who doesn't listen and engage in dialogue. It's essential to be as attuned to what others are saying as getting a prepared message across. Now, one form of interviewing that is quite common is referred to as behavioral interviewing. It's more common for jobs outside of academic positions and particularly used by hiring professionals like human resources staff. Behavioral interviewing focuses on examples of concrete behaviors of an individual rather than just ideas. It asks questions like, tell me about a time when, or give me an example of. When you're preparing for interviews, be sure to practice how you would answer these kinds of questions too. We will discuss responding to behavioral interviewing in the next video on the interview itself. There are many good resources on preparing for interviews, but here's one to get you started.